This first one's for Rena Espaillat. I promised her I would read this to her, and this is the first chance that I've gotten. This is an old poem. It's from my first book, A Lit House, and it recounts an episode that happened some 45 years ago. And I'm in the poem, but I'm not the speaker. It's called Lord and Taylor Closes at 5. See, I can't let you do that in the stove. If I were you, I'd wait till 5 o'clock when she gets out on the sidewalk. And you can do anything you want, but I can't let you do that in the stove. I gotta say, man, that was something else. This is a dress store. We don't get this kind of action. I mean, the older women, they were shocked. Now, I like to pay attention. When you first come in the store, like in a movie, clean, suit and tie with dap, shades correct, I said, there's something going to happen. You were quiet, but you were serious. A man should know how to look serious. You waited at the perfume counter for that girl. Polite, you don't talk, you don't smile. I'm going, uh-oh, close the windows, here it comes. Your turn comes up, you talk. She talks, still small. She leaves the counter, takes you up the stairs, back to the storage closet, close the door. We all looked at each other. Now, Cherie, the manager, she is the nervous type. She calls security. We wait a while, nobody talks, nobody moves, and we don't hear a thing. But Cherie goes upstairs, and when security arrives, she points. Just then, the two of you come out the door. I see your eye. You got the girl beside you, and your eye, it moves the other way and sees the guards come up. Now, this was quick. You jump down, boom, you pick her up. You got her in your arms like firewood. You move towards everybody, bam! You use her knees like, boom, a battering ram, and they go, bam! Cherie is flying one way, boom, the guards are grabbing at the girl. They want to hit you with their clubs, but bam, the girl is in the way. They start to pull on her, her legs. You're going down the stairs. The girl has got this funny smile. She's saying nothing, and you're dragging everybody with you, and you boom, you hit floor level, and they got her by the arms. They're pulling, and you got the legs, you dragging, and they got the sticks out, and then she pulls away, and they all get their shots in on you. Bap, bap, bap. And throw you out the door here on the street. I'll tell you what, you almost made it out. Who is that girl? I bet she knows you're serious now. You okay? Your suit's not ripped. Your tie's straight. The shades correct. You're in a movie. This next one is also from my first book, A Lit House. And it was actually written to the woman in the previous poem. As you'll see, things did not turn out the way that this poem suggests they might. It's called New Worlds, Rewritten. No, my love, we didn't invent spring. But as earth puts up shoots and trees awaken from winter dreams to find our love alive, they are reminded what the spring is for. My heart's bread, no, I never said that I invented love. But as ours, which began on peaks and ended in the sky, prepares to fall on peaks again, as patiently our children wait outside of time until they can begin to wait in it for their own tender hands and tiny beating hearts. Each particle of joy we'll have together swarms to you from the future in a rush, renumbers your heart bit by bit, creates another beating in its place, one that will tell you soon that you have loved me always. Your eyes widen and soften, and I hear the bells that ring out at the ends of wars. I smell dinner in your touch. Our bodies weave together. Your face blooms into its joy, and we become what those explorers who discovered new worlds thought they'd found. This one's from my third book, Solos. And my many years as a teacher have inclined me to give advice, whether it was sought or not. So this poem does that. It's called You Want It Simple. You want it simple, but it isn't simple. Some problems just have intricate solutions. Some will only lead to other problems. You want it clear. You find instead it's murky. You can have it one way or another, but you don't know enough to make a choice. And then it doesn't matter what you choose. Once you have your wish, it starts to change. It doesn't really matter what you know. When another person is in pain, your being right is quite beside the point. It's better that you listen and be present. You're desperate to believe in gods and heroes who work on your behalf and rescue you from evil. Yet you feel you're in the right to keep down those who only want the same. You want someone to blame, when not just one, but all on every side deserve some blame. And anyway, it isn't yours to say. We're all involved and no one stands apart. You're hoping for a villain. That's not it. It's how the mechanism fits together, with every one of us a moving part, affecting and affected by each other. You want it to be simple. Here it is. Humble yourself before your ignorance. Don't rush to judge before you understand. And learn to live despite uncertainty. Okay, now we move into that part of the program taken from the new book, Into the Dance. This poem was inspired by some of the Chinese poets of the late Tang Dynasty, particularly Du Fu. I'm fond of that era. It's called At Season's End. As I do every night, I read in bed. The book rests on my chest and takes me to the late Tang Dynasty, a favorite. I turn the pages, riffling the silence. Tonight I view that world through a poet's eyes, old, his spirit dimmed by years of exile in the northern provinces. He sits in gathering fall and darkness, by a rock meant to shelter him from changing winds. But there's no trace of wind, and not a ripple disturbs the surface of the nearby marsh. He weeps for his long lost and distant home with downcast eyes, while far above him, all unnoticed, cranes are catching warmer air to aid them in their journey to the south. They slip and glide beyond, beating the season. I turn the page, and am surprised to find a bookmark, fallen out of sight for years. On it, the name and number of a girl who'd given me a lover's compliment. To my deep shame, the words she said are all, or nearly all, that I remember of her. That, and how far back the memory was made in what feels like another life. I use my fingertips to wipe my eyes and clarify the ending of the poem. When I take up the book again, the pages, at the moisture of my touch, puff up. I have a habit of writing poems on special days, on my birthdays, on holidays like Christmas and New Year's and Easter, on the solstices, etc. This one was written on my birthday in 2024. It's called The Harrowing of Age. There is no shade. There are no shadows here. The blowing sands scatter the tracks of others who made their trek from water now through waste which used to lead to other water later. There are no mercies placed along the way. By traveling at night through sudden cold, you find the farther place for water dried up, eroded, totally obscured. But being disappointed takes up time and energy that would be better used to set back out again toward the next place where water still is possible. Like other animals, you have to move with complete economy, without hope or expectation, your awareness whittled to a splinter of pure need. It is a discipline to which you must succumb. Your feelings must be set aside. In this scenario, they're no help. Your best chance is to stay an animal. This one is an example of poems I occasionally write based on classical themes. And I think you'll recognize the episode that this retells from its original telling, which is quite well known. It's called A Pig's Eye. She understood me better than she knew. Once the emptied bowls slipped from our grasp and dully clanged against the polished stone beneath our feet, her hospitality revealed its true intent. As bristles sprouted out on our bodies every inch, we fell grunting in a bunch on hands and knees and snuffled at the fragrant table legs. She led us out a back way to the sties, our bellies dragging in the luscious mud, with men's minds still trapped in a herd of swine. My shipmates squealed in protest at their fate. I, though, was thinking it a stroke of luck. Our voyage had been one calamity after another. Blown across the sea, skulls cracked between the one-eyed giant's jaws, or beaten flat by rocks heaved from above. We felt like playthings in a children's game. It turned out our captain was a hero. You want to stay away from gods and heroes. The captain was tipped off about the spell, and this god or that was always helping him, it seems. So he could make the sorceress explain the only way he could get home. That was his motivation, getting home. Of course, he had a kingdom and a queen waiting for him. He was in a hurry. I don't blame him. If I had a home and someone to go back to, I'd be too. But there was nothing for me where I'd started. I'd signed on to the mission on a lark to get away. Who knew that it was doomed? So when she changed us back, I thought about the life that we'd be starting up again. I couldn't help comparing it to what I had. Slop buckets kept full to the brim, free foraging the island roots and acorns, the cool, wet mud where I could sink my toes, a life without demands or incident. And silently, alone, I cursed the outcome. Oh, to be men again, my shipmates snorted, cheered by the chance to sleep next to their oars below decks. Quarters cramped on every side, to bristle at an order, but obey. I hung back once the changing had begun, and watched them wash themselves, their bodies smooth, and put on clothes to hide their nakedness. They'd all agree again to get along and die trying. When the spell began to wear off in me, I could feel the urge to stand up on 2 feet. I sniffled then. A tear rolled from my eye, dropped from my snout. Now, this is a change of pace. As many of you know, I'm also a songwriter, and I've always maintained that the lyrics to my songs are not poems. I see poems and song lyrics as being quite different, because the poem has to do all the work with the words alone, whereas the song has got the music to help carry the message that the lyrics have. And the music can do an awful lot of work to help out. So today you're not going to hear the music that accompanies these lyrics, although you can hear it in my new album, Blues in Hand. This song is called How Is It? She got knots in her clothesline, spikes on her fence. She's master of the kind of crime that leaves no evidence. There's about 1,000 things I'd never let her do. So how is it that I ever let her take me away from you? She hits me because I won't hit back. She speaks with forks and knives. Whenever she gets through with me, I barely feel alive. She talks about me all the time, and none of it is true. So how is it that I ever let her take me away from you? How did she ever get me to do what I never should have done? When I count on her like I counted on you, it just adds up to 1. There's lots of people talking, saying men are dogs and swine. It's true, we've got some doggish ways. If I argued, I'd be lying. But a dog will answer when you call and stay right with you, too. So how is it that I ever let her take me away from you? I guess I got an answer, but it doesn't make me proud. In every way, you're better, but making sense is not allowed. Her hair is red, her eyes are green, while yours are yellow and blue. That's all it is that made me let her take me away from you. That's all it is. Okay, finally, this one is too new to even be in Into the Dance, which came out last April. This one's from just a couple of weeks ago. It's called A Granted Wish. He was disconsolate at the rejection. He visited the oracle of love to plead his case, was careful to remove his hat and wipe his shoes to show respect before he crossed the threshold. It was clear the goddess had heard all of it before. You must remember, when a woman doesn't feel the same way that you do, the gods themselves will never interfere. You self-styled lovers seem to think we'll overturn the rule of nature just to make you happy. We have to get along with nature too, you know. We can't afford to break her rules. A woman has a right to be attracted to whomever. It's a mystery. We don't pretend to understand it, but we respect it. We don't change her mind. But I'm not asking that you break a rule, he says. Just this one time, make an exception. If we made one, we'd have to make 1,000,000, says the goddess. Surely you see that. What if I make the game more interesting? And how do you propose to do that, says the goddess. It had been a humdrum day. Change her mind and make her want me. I'll do anything you say, pay any price. I'll have to ask my manager, the goddess says, and cloaks herself in mist. Returning presently, she says, I can't explain this. It's unprecedented, but the boss says it's a go. I have permission. I can totally renumber all the atoms in her heart. They're odd right now, but I can make them even so they'll match the atoms in your heart. And she will find the two of you are in perfect accord. And how will you do that, he says. It's done, the goddess says. Go home. You'll find her waiting. He rushes off, gives thanks at every step. And it's come true. The woman just can't get enough of him. For 3 days, he's ecstatic. She's besotted. And he can't believe his luck. On day 4, while she's out acquiring pleasing gewgaws for the nest, there comes a knock at the front door. He answers it to find the goddess in her traveling clothes. There is little matter of your payment, she says, smiling. You aren't satisfied, I take it. Yes, completely. Far beyond my boldest dreams. That's nice, the goddess says. We take pride in our work. Now, as to what you have to do, it's very simple. What? You have to let me make your atoms odd, the goddess says. You have to what? It won't hurt. You'll just feel different. There, it's done. You'll find out what it means when she gets home. Thank you.